Chicago-style coupe dish.
This kind?
I bit my lip.
Don't do that.
It's Wednesday. We've got pizza. It's Pizza Junkies pizza, which is my favorite pizza in town today. It is one of my favorites. I don't know. I like a lot of different types of pizza, but this is one of my favorites of all days. But Pizza Junkies. So it's Wednesday. It's middle of week 3. Is that right? Middle of week 3?
Yeah, there are 27 days left in the build season.
Don't want to hear that.
Are we like right in the middle?
No, we're only 19 days in.
19 days in. Okay, so next week, gosh, sorry I did freak everybody out, but next week we'll be in the middle. I did check out some Twitter feeds this morning, and I found some pretty cool videos out there. These aren't just videos that are sent to us. These are videos out in the Twitterverse, and there's some impressive robots that are happening so far. I don't know if this is Team 6871 and 8235, but Queen Creek Robotics. Wow, say that 5 times fast.
8235.
Say that one.
Is this an
That's an
FRC and an FTC team?
Maybe.
Queen
Queen
Creek Robotics.
Creek Robotics. That's difficult.
Queen Queek? That's what I heard.
Queen
Wapes?
Queen Creek.
Queen Wapes?
They have an impressive pneumatic lift. Really cool, robust pneumatic lift, so good job to you guys. There's a nice custom track drive system, actually a really cool track drive system that's all their own. They're not using any thing from us. It's Annandale Robotics 3058. Cool track drive. And then Avon Robotics out of Ohio, Avon, Ohio, 4119, has a really nice cargo shooter. They actually backed up about 5 feet from the rocket, and they're just shooting it right into the rocket. I'm sure they're hitting it every single time, and this isn't video magic or anything like that. But they're planning on shooting, at least from what we can tell with this video.
610 has a really good thread on Chief Delphi on how to optimize your cycle time. Go give it a read, check it out, add it to your drive team's homework.
Yeah.
What have you learned from that?
The article focuses a lot on how to optimize your cycle time. So really making sure that you're going to have proper alignment, taking into consideration how fast you need to drive when you're collecting the game pieces. More than just how are you going to collect them, what are you going to do with them once you've collected them, and as Danny's saying, score them. Slow, smooth is fast.
I think there's so many short movements this year that the time needed to spin around and place something, if you don't have the ability to do a 180-degree movement, I think that's going to be pretty important because there's pretty short movements, high acceleration, short movements, and if you're taking the time to spin around 180 degrees, that might be a lag to your cycle time.
That's a post by Jonathan Norris, who's probably one of the best strategists I know in all of first game. He's got a long history in first. That guy knows what he's talking about. The post goes into detail a lot about drive speed, which is really interesting because they optimize usually in the 9 to 12 feet per second range, where a lot of people are like, oh my god, I gotta go 20 feet per second, because they're really acceleration. They really understand that the change direction distance, or distance to changing any direction, for most FRC games is under 20 feet. There is the occasional long field sprint, but for average movements across the entire field, for a lot of the robots they designed, because they designed for cycle time efficiency, as Ruth said, that 9 to 12 feet per second range is good.
What level, like what ratios does that put like Evo shifter equivalent at?
That's about tough box gearing in the kit parts chassis. Is around that 11 feet per second mark is what with 6-inch wheels, 10.7 to 1 to 1 is around 11 feet per second.
I would even lean toward a little bit slower top end speed with higher acceleration. I think your runs are so short. I mean, I'm guessing, but we're talking most runs are 10 feet.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's what we did our math around, was 10 feet.
Do people for the most part do auto shifting anymore, or is it still like, for a lot of people, still manual, like push a button on the joystick? Because I feel like if you're talking about cycle efficiency, like one of the things that you can do to save a lot of your time is remove the guessing game of shift points.
You can, there's some fancy software you can do for especially if you're dog shifting style transmissions where you let off the throttle a little bit during that shift sequence so the dogs engage quickly instead of full power all the time. That some people have done, but at the same time, there's usually other things to optimize first on a lot of FRC robots before you get down into the optimizing your shifting.
One thing that we did on our shifters a couple of years ago is we just set the shift point at 75% throttle. So it's a really simple, really dumb. There's no smarts. There's no software like sensor control, whatever. You just give the driver a little bit of roll into the throttle, and the shift point happens about where it should in the gearing. Usually, the really optimized gear pairs, the shift is like half a second, third of a second after launch. So if you just set it at 75% throttle, you're about there as you're rolling into the throttle.
Is that with a split arcade setup, tank drive?
Tank.
Is your water bottle USB powered?
Yeah.
Why?
It's got a self-cleaning device in the cap.
Ah.
Kickstarter.
Alexa. I was talking to somebody on 447. They came to visit us. The Team Roboto came to visit us, and I was worried about when you're scoring on the rocket, someone's playing defense in front of you, between you and the rocket, you're essentially pinning them. So, heaven forbid, you take more than 5 seconds to score your cargo or your hatch panel while you're pinning the defender up against the rocket. I think that's a hole in the game that we need to look at. We've got a show tomorrow night, big show, AM and the PM tomorrow night, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock.
6 Eastern, 5 Central.
Tomorrow night we've got Ruth.
7 o'clock Atlanta.
We've got Ruth,
Yeah.
Nick, and Allen Gregory from Spectrum, 3847. So I'm happy to have Allen on the show. It'd be cool to see some dynamics between those three people, debate and argue about stuff. What are you guys talking about?
We're talking a lot about benchmarks teams should be hitting right about now, and if you're not hitting those, how do you recover for the rest of your build season? Yep. If you're not already, you should probably be following his team's blog. It's got a lot of really good resources.
So be safe, have fun this week. We'll see you on Friday. We'll go out to dinner. We'll go out to lunch somewhere here in Kokomo. I don't know why I said dinner.
Is that a new segment, Dinner with Andy?
No. I saw this thing on the interwebs that it's a cover, it's a muzzle for your mouth if you're on the phone and you're really loud. So you can put this thing over your mouth and your people on the other line can hear you, but your coworkers can't hear you. Some people around here that might be good for.
So then it's just really loud for the person on the other end of your phone.
I don't think so.
You're like funneling all
We'll have to try that out.
I will not be muzzled.